So here's what happens in Xenoblade 2. Full spoilers for Xenoblade 2, obviously, and minor spoilers for Xenoblade 1, but it's more of a retcon than a spoiler, and I try to keep things about that game as vague as possible. In this game, you play as Rex, who is what you get when you combine Sora from Kingdom Hearts and Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia, but write him to be as annoying as possible. He's a Cockney salvager who rides on the back of a dragon, which might sound cool, but the dragon is a total boomer whose dialogue can't be heard over the background music. What is this, one of my videos? Rex makes his living pulling up garbage from the Cloud Sea, which is a sea of clouds, because they didn't want to get sued by Wind Waker, I guess. All the people in this world live inside of, or on the backs of, large creatures called Titans. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Rex gets a salvaging job from an annoying green chicken mob boss who keeps saying, man, 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 because that's how you write good dialogue, and teams up with the group called Torna, comprised of Jin, whose demeanor, motivation, and abilities boil down to Weeaboo Shadow the Hedgehog, Malos, who's totally not a bad guy, and Nia, an angry Welsh cat girl, because of course this game has cat girls, and in a goofy Pluto situation, the cat girl has a pet cat named Dromark, except he's not a pet, he's a blade, and the rest of them are drivers? Here's an explanation of what blades and drivers are that the game does not do a very good job of giving you. So blades are artificial life forms, sort of, that come from special rocks called core crystals. Instead of they themselves fighting, blades draw an energy from the atmosphere and yeet it into the weapons of the driver they are bonded to. How do they get bonded? Well, if someone picks up the core crystal and has enough X factor, no really, then the blade gets bonded to them and they become a driver. If a driver dies, then the blade returns to their core crystal until someone else comes along and resonates with their crystal, except the blade has no memory of their previous lives. After the blade has gone through that cycle an unspecified number of times, they become a titan that people live inside of or on top of. Then when a Titan dies, they release a bunch of new core crystals, continuing the cycle. Anyway, Dragon Grandpa's like, hey man, maybe you should look into the job you're taking before immediately accepting it. But Rex doesn't listen and goes on the job anyway. The group pull up a sunken ship, inside of which contains the Aegis, the most powerful blade to have ever existed, who of course turns out to be a big-titted anime waifu named Pyra, who has two massive and weirdly horizontal honkers on her chest. Man, them big old bungalows, them wide old hunk of bungalows, them fat ass chunk of hunk of bungalows. As soon as you find Pyra sleeping, Rex instinctively grabs Pyra's a sword, and then Jin literally stabs Rex in the back, killing him. Short game, right? I fucking wish. Then Pyra brings Rex's soul to the ending of Majora's Mask, which apparently is a thing that Pyra can do. And she agrees to revive him in exchange for escorting her to the World Tree, which is a big tree in the center of the world. Never heard of that in a JRPG before. Where their god called the Architect lives. Well, also the world is dying because time is dying off too quickly. There may not be enough land on top of the World Tree called Elysium, the old place where Pyra dreams of, where there's enough land for everyone to live on. But that's more of a side plot. Back to the story. Rex and Pyra agree to team up, thus completing the duo of the first results of what happens when you Google bad character design. The two of them fight Malos in a tutorial battle. That's right, the girl is your sword. This always works out well in a video game, right? Then Nia decides that she wants more screen time and be a main character, so she switches sides and helps Rex, and then Rex and Pyra, Nia, and Dromark are saved by Rex's dragon grandpa, who swoops in and carries them all to safety, and then he dies. Just kidding, he immediately reincarnates into an in-training stage Digimon and rides in Rex's helmet for the rest of the game, and does nothing except withhold really important info and make the occasional pervy comment. Because why should the main character learn from the consequences of their decisions that affect the ones around them and grow from that? The group's in Gormont, which is like a big grassy area with high-level enemies wandering around. Stop me if you've heard this one before. And then Nia and Dromark get captured by local authorities led by Bridget, who's like a blue flame blade who's late for the Met Gala. How does Bridget, a blade, fight alone without her driver? Anyways, Rex and Pyra escape with the help of Tora, another annoying chicken guy. Not to be confused with Torna, the name of the group of the bad guys, or Torna, the continent that got destroyed 500 years ago. Why the game didn't fix the beginner writer's mistake of giving two unrelated things similar sounding names, I'll never know. Tora says he'll help you save Nia if you help him get the last couple of parts for his robot named Poppy, an artificial blade he built since Tora doesn't have enough X factor for a regular blade. Poppy looks like a little girl and is super strong, and Tora has a bunch of French maid outfits for her. Wait, what the fuck? After saving Nia and Dromark, you fight Bridget again, except this time she has her driver, General Varrot from Valkyria Chronicles, Morag? She's the game's best character, Special Inquisitor for the Morardane Empire. What does the Special Inquisitor do? Anyways, Morag wants to capture Pyra to keep anyone from using her power to destroy the world, which is what everyone says happened 500 years ago in the prequel DLC, even though that very much is not what happened in the prequel DLC. You win in the gameplay and then you lose in the cutscene. Get used to that. So you end up running away from Morag. The gang grab a boat and sail towards the World Tree. Short game, right? I fucking wish. With nowhere else to go after being banned from competitive, Mega Rayquaza blocks their path, and then Wailord eats their boat. This is the plot of the game for the next 30 hours. You want to get to the big tree and maybe do a thing, but there's a big-ass snake in the way. Inside the big whale that ate them, the group meets Vandham, the leader of the group of mercenaries, who says he knows someone who might know how to get rid of the giant snake. Vandham joins the party and doesn't bond with other blades, and is an older mentor character who offers sage advice to the group and totally isn't going to die. Anyways, Vandham immediately dies while you're all fighting Malice again in the second Malice boss fight. During that fight, Pyra transforms into her true form, Mythra, the worst character in all of Xenoblade. She's a Tsundere? Am I saying that right? Who's simultaneously wearing more and less clothing than Pyra. She can have visions of the future, but only during cutscenes, unlike in the first game, because I guess Shulk filed a DMCA against them. And with Mythra's power of calling down orbital strikes, like you do, the gang defeat Malice again in another unlosable story battle. It's at this point where the Xenoblade anime catches up with the Xenoblade manga, so for the next 20 to 30 hours of the game, there are like 5 separate filler arcs. 99% of the stuff that happens here does not matter, even a little bit. Nor is it particularly interesting or worth poorly drawing. Except during this section, Morag and Bridget join the party, then leave the party, then join the party, then leave the party, then join the party. Then Zeke, who is literally just a shonen protagonist, and his blade Pandoria, who's just annoying, join the party. Also, Poppy gets a second form where she puts on a maid outfit and grows tits. Wait, what the fuck? During this large segment of the game, the only main plot progression that happens, you know, getting to the giant tree, is, I don't know how to get rid of the giant snake. Maybe go ask this guy. I don't know how to get rid of the giant snake. Maybe go ask the evil the Pope. And then the Pope named Malthus, who's totally not the bad guy, says, oh, I know how to get rid of the giant snake, but I'm not sure if I'll tell you yet. Go do some more filler stuff first. Okay, I'll tell you now. Go talk to Zeke's dad, and they have a thing that will get rid of the giant snake. We're not gonna help you get rid of the giant snake. We're gonna capture you instead.
A few moments later.
Okay, we'll help you get rid of the giant snake. But first, oh no! Our Titan is drowning itself? And if it goes too far below the cloud sea, the air pressure will kill us all. The thing you need to stop it is the same thing you need to get rid of the giant snake. That sure is convenient. Okay, we stopped the Titan from drowning itself. And we got the thing that we need to get rid of the giant snake blocking the world tree. Remember that? The main plot? Me neither. Oh no! Jin and his crew showed up and took the thing we needed to get rid of the giant snake, and also kidnapped Pyra, like 20 minutes after her previous kidnapping. Oh my god. Because Jin can use all his flesh eater powers to move as fast as the speed of light, so we can't even hit him. Oh yeah, flesh eater is like a blade infused with human cells. That's sort of important, but like not really. I'm now going to abandon Pyra and the rest of the group, even though it's like 2/3 of the way through the game and Pyra literally just sacrificed herself so the rest of us can get away and is most definitely being tortured right now. This is the guy people want in Smash Brothers? Okay, and it finally looks like Rex in his annoying dialogue of going to leave the party and literally anyone else can be the main character. But unfortunately, Nia punches Rex, and then Bridget punches Rex, and then Poppy almost punches Rex, and then Rex reluctantly agrees to stay. God damn it. Then Zeke's dad is like, go get the magic sword that even the legendary hero wasn't even worthy enough to wield. You've clearly proven from your recent behavior where you had decided to abandon the team that you're more worthy than he is. Who wrote this? And then they go underneath Rex's hometown to the hero's tomb in the worst section of the game where you can't use a lot of your most powerful attacks, which doesn't make the game harder, it just makes these overly long battles take even longer. And then for the boss fight, you fight like 50 fucking shadow clones in a row of the protagonist from the prequel DLC. Great gameplay! And in the middle of a boss fight, Nia reveals that she's also a flesh eater, and then she takes all of her clothes off and confesses her love for Rex and is immediately friend-zoned? And then Rex talks to the DLC guy's ghost, who's like a Jedi? And then the super magic sword that came down here to get vanishes, and Rex is like, "I know what to do." He does not know what to do. Then the team go to save Pyra, who was captured because Malice is also an Aegis and needs the power of Pyra's core to repair the damage he took 500 years ago when they fought in the prequel DLC and returned to full power. But they're too late, and Malice shows up. But he's got the Monado from Xenoblade 1, and it's purple! And he uses moves that Shulk used, and he's back at full strength, and you, like, easily beat him. I'm kind of glad he showed up, though, because I'm sorry, guys, I was falling asleep during the story until Malice shows up and starts yelling, "Monado! Mamundo! Manando! Mamande!" And that woke me right up. But yeah, you easily beat full-strength Malice in the third fucking Malice boss fight, and at the end of it, Nia makes Malice's body bloat up like a balloon, which is a very specific type of fetish, but I'm sure someone's into it. But then, like, instead of waiting patiently 25 turns for his revenge, you fight him again, literally like 10 minutes later, in the fourth fucking Malice boss fight. But this time he's with Jin, and they've already tortured Pyra to death. But not really, because like partway through the fight, Rex and Pyra and Mithra start talking to each other in their heads, and somehow they unlock their third form, which is their true form, which is Hatsune Miku! I fucking wish. No, she's called Pneuma, sort of. And Pneuma gives Rex the power of the Master Driver. He's the master of all blades. Because. And you beat Jin and Malice in a tutorial battle. But gameplay doesn't matter in this video game. Only story. So then Rex and Jin uses all their power and start having a literal anime sky battle that will never accurately be represented via gameplay. And even though Jin can move at the speed of light, however Rex and Pneuma are able to move faster than the speed of light because they can rewrite the laws of physics around them. And then Jin and Malice were all like, "All I want to do is kill everyone and kill God and destroy the world because my sort of girlfriend died. Stop me if you've heard this one before." But then Malice is all like, "Go, Rayquaza!" And the giant snake you spent the whole game trying to get rid of shows up and starts attacking. But that's when Gundam Wing shows up. No, I'm not making any of this up. Gundam fucking Wing shows up. He's all like, "Mega Rayquaza, you bottom bitch. I told you I'd show your face from my neighborhood. About to beat your motherfucking ass." And then Rayquaza and Gundam Wing start fighting. And in the ensuing fight, everyone falls to the bottom of the Cloud Sea. Short game, right? I fucking wish. Because everyone's okay, even though literally one chapter ago, the game went out of its way to set up that if you fall below the Cloud Sea, you'll die. Also, turns out the land below the Cloud Sea is Earth. Like regular-ass Earth. But everything's ruined, so basically modern-day Rochester. Rex and Mithra find weakened Jin, and instead of finishing him off, thus ending the game right then and there, and even though not 10 minutes ago, he gave some big speech about intending to destroy the world and how nothing can change his mind, instead, they'll save him and team up to fight the zombies below the Cloud Sea, even though Jin helps torture and sort of kill Pyra, and has killed other people in the story, and has tried to kill your whole party multiple times, and did kill Rex at the start of the game. Oh, but the zombies down there are too hard to fight alone. Prequel DLC, summary. So for the past, like, 40 hours, the player has seen random cutscenes from the prequel DLC copy-pasted into the main game with zero context to what's happening and not relevant to what's happening in the story when they're being shown. But it's here where the prequel DLC actually starts to matter, so here's a quick summary of it. Basically, what had happened was, 500 years ago, the party was Hanoka from Fire Emblem Fates, Laura? With her two blades, Jin and Sakura, Haze. Adam with Mithra and his sword of blade, Minoth, and Hugo, the Moradane Emperor, and Morag's sort of ancestor, with his two blades. They all fight and defeat Malice, who is trying to blow up the world because the evil the Pope was like secretly told him to do it, I think, since he was Malice's original driver. But during the fight, Malice destroyed the continent of Torna, and a bunch of people died, but like most of them were able to evacuate. Also Hugo dies, but like no one really cares about him despite being, you know, the Emperor. Oh, and Milton dies. Who's Milton? Couldn't tell you. And that's pretty much it. So back to the main game, Rex and Mithra ask Jin why he would team up with Malice, even though in the prequel DLC, he was part of the crew fighting him. And Jin reveals that during the prequel DLC's ending, but still off-screen, after defeating Malice, the Pope and his forces wanted to claim the Aegis' power for himself, but he couldn't find them because by then Pyra had been sealed in the ship from the start of the game. But during the search for the Aegis, the Pope's troops killed Jin's driver Laura, who Jin was maybe in love with? but then instead of Laura dying and Jin returning to his core crystal and losing all his memory, Jin bores her corpse instead. Yes, really.
I ate her.
And that's how he got all his cool light speed powers. But because this game has gone on long enough, Malice and his crew conveniently pick up Jin and fly away, and then your party conveniently reunites, and the entrance to the world tree is conveniently located nearby, and Pyra can conveniently open it. Also, these images are taking way too long to make, so I'm just going to use cutscene footage for the rest of the summary, which is probably what I should have done from the start, instead of using the Shapes tool in Microsoft PowerPoint. Cool? Cool. As you're climbing the world tree, which is like an empty machine on the inside, that's when all the game's art assets show up, with Malice and his crew trying to drill into the world tree from their ship, and the evil Pope, the Pope shows up on his dragon country, and they start fighting, and that's when the evil Pope uses the power of Haze, who was a blade in the prequel DLC, and was killed by Jin earlier in the game. It's really not important. He channels her power through the pillars in his country, just call over all the Titans and shoot at Malice's ship, but then Malice is like, oh hell nah, and Jin and Malice like hop off and start climbing the tree, and then their skyboat transforms into Metal Face from Xenoblade 1, don't worry, it's just like a design Easter egg, and Metal Face and the Dragon Country start fighting in the sky, and this is all happening like in the background, by the way. You're just casually walking up the tree. But because the evil Pope has drained too much power from the other Titans and putting people who live on them at risk, Rex and Mithra decide to have Poppy fly them over to the Dragon Country, blow up the pillars, and then fly back. Then Metal Face and Dragon Country kind of defeat each other. Also, Mikhail's there. He's not important. On the way back to the Architect, Jin has a sudden change of heart and tells Malice to go on without him because... So anyways, Rex and company catch up to Jin, who fights their party one last time, and even though he wasn't really trying to beat you, I think? But right after the battle, it turns out that, off-screen, while the Dragon Country was fighting Metal Face, evil Pope Malthus accidentally played polymerization infused with his hentai collection, but as a big tentacle monster. What is this game? After you fight him, turns out that the power of God and anime is too powerful because giant tentacle monster Pope is still living, so Jin sacrifices himself to defeat the big monster so that everyone else can live. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Malice reaches the Architect first, shoots a beam at him that gets deflected, then leaves. That was really satisfying. Anyways, the party reaches the top of the world tree, which extends into space, and then go into a space station where they finally reach Elysium, and it's like a space colony, but all the plants there and everything is dead. Looks like the entire journey was for nothing. Whoops! But there's a church there, and since it's clear that some of the party needs Jesus, they go investigate, and then Rex has to fight alternate angry versions of his party members without Pyra or Mithra. Totally not super easy to get soft locked here if you bench Rex for half the game and use Morag instead like I did. Whoops! But those fights were actually like sort of a test by the Architect, the god of this world. And then he proceeds to dump a fuck ton of exposition on you. And he has the same voice as Shulk from Xenoblade 1, but he's not Shulk. There's a different reason why they have the same voice that I'm not going to talk about since it ties into Xenoblade 1's story. But basically, here's a summary of like the 22-minute cutscene of everything he tells you. So the Architect was originally a researcher on Earth, like real Earth, named Klaus, who ran an experiment from a space station to create a new universe in the middle of a war, and didn't go well, and a woman tried to stop him, so he just hit her, what an asshole, and ran the experiment anyway. He created two universes, one of which is the world in Xenoblade 1, and the other is the world, this one, in Xenoblade 2. And Earth got kind of destroyed during the experiment, so he created the blades, which have all the data of all life saved inside of them, so they're like USB drives, and used the cloud seed to make new land. And there were 3 cores of the CPU that he used to run the experiment. One of them was Pyra / Mithra / Pneuma, one of them was Malice, and the third one was sent to the universe in Xenoblade 1, I think? Look, he says a lot of things, alright? Most of which don't answer the central questions that the story has been presenting up until this point, and instead make things a little more confusing. The important thing is, during this entire conversation, Malice has been headed towards Aeon, the ultimate Gundam at the top of the world tree, and he's gonna use that to Alt F4 the world, because that's what he was programmed to dupe. Beep, motherfucking boop. And also, at the exact same time that this is all happening, meanwhile, in a good game, the party of Xenoblade 1 in their universe are actually competent, and they're about to fight the final boss of their game, and when that final boss dies, then the Architect in this universe will also die, so you gotta hustle instead of listening to very long exposition dumps. You reach Malice like 1 floor above you. Malice is already attacking the world with a bunch of ruby weapons from Final Fantasy VII, but I don't know, that's not really important. And Rex's team is all like, hey, cut that out. And Malice is all like, I am evil because a Malthus was evil, and a Malthus was evil because... I don't know, something about a baby, or his mother, or war is hell, I don't know. Pick whatever reason you want, or just do like other convoluted games do and say the whole thing's a metaphor for game design. So you fight Malice for the 5th fucking time, but this time he's pulled a Shinji and gotten to the big robot, and you easily beat him. And then the world tree starts collapsing because... But Pneuma's all like, get to the escape pod, I'll trigger the startup sequence. But Rex is all like, if you stay here, you'll die. But Pneuma's all like, too bad. And the party escapes and the world tree explodes and collapses and some debris hits the party's escape pod and they all stop falling, but in his last second of life, the architect turns Dragon Grandpa back into his dragon form and the party lands on him, and then Pyra's core lands and returns to Rex, and he reawakens both Pyra and Mithra, which apparently is a thing that he can do now. And all the Titans begin merging into one continent, and that's where the story ends. What happens next? Doesn't matter, because Rex, aka you, the player, get both Pyra and Mithra at the same time, and they both love you, and Nia loves you, and Morag respects you, and Zeke likes you, and Tora looks up to you. This game is bad, y'all. Play Xenoblade 1 instead.